The gold plate of the high priest mitre was indeed used in ancient Jewish magical practices. For example, a silver plate in Hebrew characters and used as an amulet found near the Sea of Galilee begins as follows. The wand of Moses is, of course, the rod of Aaron or the rod of God. The translator notes that the sorcerer, that is, the one who inscribed the silver amulet, was armed with the full array of ancient Hebrew magical instruments. This included the gold plate of the high priest mitre. When Moses sent Phinehas and the hosts of Israel to battle against the Midianites, he gave the captain of the host the holy instruments, which would ensure victory. According to Jewish legend, these instruments included the Ark of the Covenant, which was always carried before Israel in battle, the Urim and Thummim, and the gold plate of the high priest mitre. Each instrument had a particular miraculous power. None of these were traditional weapons or war machines. Their use in battle is purely symbolic and magical, as the Battle of Jericho is the prime example. Their mere presence guarantees victory. In this particular case, the gold plate was simply held up and through this means grounded the flying sorcerer, Balaam, who fought with the Midianites. This is reminiscent of Moses holding up the rod of God, ensuring victory in battle over Amalek. When Moses learned that the leaders of the army had failed to kill the Midianite women along with the men, he became very angry. He ordered that the women of age be executed, while the young girls were to be spared. In order to differentiate the difference in the age, he used the gold plate of the high priest, which magically made those guilty of death turn pale. These accounts assuredly are legends. Still, they demonstrate the magical thinking of the ancient Jews and the magical tradition behind the gold plate of the high priest mitre and its inscription. Holiness to the Lord. Even if we are to discount the legends, the scriptural account does imply magical effects from the gold plate. Merely through the ritual of Aaron wearing the plate, Israel's sins would be forgiven and would become acceptable before the Lord. In like manner, on the Day of Atonement, where all Israel was commanded to rest and to afflict their souls, meaning to humble themselves, the high priest was instructed to make an atonement for the nation. He did so, in part, by putting on the holy garment. The absolution of sins through symbolic ritual is the fundamental principle of the trespass or sin offerings. When an Israelite trespassed the law, he or she was required to bring a trespass offering to the Lord. The priest, by burning the offering, atoned for the sin. Through this ritual, the trespasser was forgiven. The Smith family, Holiness to the Lord, magic parchment, was used to invoke good spirits. The primary magical element of the phrase was the name of the Lord, albeit in translation. Implied is the ineffable name, the Tetragrammaton. The gold nameplate, at least in part, was also used for this purpose, actually having the Tetragrammaton engraved on its surface. The plate was part of the holy garments of the high priest, whose function was to meet the Lord in the Holy of Holies, called the Most Holy Place. According to magical practice, the name of the good spirit to be invoked must be upon the layman and parchment. The high priest head plate included the name of God, the tetragrammaton. As would be expected, if the plate was a talisman for invoking a good spirit by name, it was the Lord who appeared in the cloud upon the mercy seat.